Socrates once said that manual laborers make for bad friends, or not the best of friends, because they don't have the time to fulfill the duties of friendship and citizenship. I'm not actually a studier of Socrates. I read that in a essay called The Abolition of Work by Bob Black. I read this over 20 years ago, like in my college days or whatever. What's up, everybody? It's Shemmy from The Shemmy Show. I'm still doing the international travel thing, and today's topic is about entrepreneurship, working for yourself, friendship, maintaining friendships and relationships in life, and just having the autonomy to pretty much hop from city to city like I do and why I do it, right? There's a lot of people that have questioned me, pretty much since a teenager about this whole working for yourself thing. I've always worked online, had some kind of website. Before I got into the adult website biz, I was even designing sites for local mom and pop shops, hair salon, travel agency, anything really. I was just a guy that was always making web pages. Before the internet, I was selling literally stationery. I would buy up like a box of envelopes and pretty much go door to door and ask businesses if they needed, like self-addressed envelopes printed on my printer. I mean, I was just trying to make money with my printer, basically. So that was before I got into programming and before I got into the website and before the internet, really. So I've always had this idea in my head that I could use my computer and my printer to make money, right? And today's formula is no different. I just use a computer and a video camera or whatever, and in this case, a phone or whatever for this show. And it still goes back to the same, the same root, basically. I'm a guy that's used to working for himself and making his own money and making his own way. Now, I want to go back to how old was I at this point? I think I was 19 years old towards the end of 1999, right? I took a trip to Singapore to meet a girl that I had been typing to ever since I graduated high school. And I graduated high school at 17, a year younger because I skipped a grade, right? So there was this girl, she was Chinese Malay, and I had been talking to her on what they call IRC or MIRC back in the day. It was like it was the original hashtag Unix-based chat client and dial-up internet, telnet or whatever they call it. And yeah, I just told her ever since high school, like, I'm not sure how we'll meet up one day, but eventually, when I'm able to, I'll come and see you. And I'm a guy that always keeps true to my word. If I tell somebody that I'm going to see him, I go and see him. And it might not be exactly when they want to, but I don't break promises to people. And you shouldn't go through life with the habit of breaking promises to people. Your word is really all you got. You know what I'm saying? So if you commit or tell somebody you're going to do something, unless some crazy, crazy circumstance out of your control happens, you should follow through and commit to that, right? So I went to go and see this girl in Singapore, and she also had, I think, 4 or 5 friends. I went to visit them as well at the same time. I was still very young, teenager and whatever. By the time I went to see her, I wasn't virgin anymore. I had one girlfriend who was also an internet long distance girlfriend in America. She was from Texas or whatever. Same type of story. I met her online. We type back and forth for a year, but whatever. But you're young, you have no money or whatever. But I'd make promises. As soon as I get a job, do this, make some money, I'm gonna get a ticket and come see you. We're not just gonna like. I'm not one of these people that believes in typing away, pecking away on devices infinitely to people that you're never ever gonna fucking meet. If you're one of these guys that is always just typing back and forth to a girl, and you never ever ever meet up in person, or you're not making plans to meet up with them in the next year or so, I mean, you're pretty much wasting your time, man. I always say to girls when I come and see them, long distance type of girls, like, look, we can type over the phone. You know what I'm saying? When we're in person, we need to go and do shit. So, yeah, I'm doing this show as right now. I'm actually in Holland right now, doing more of the same shit. You know what I'm saying? I do believe in not a new girl this time, but I do believe in watering the flowers, so to speak. Basically, in other words, if I have a girl that's in my phone or app or whatever, and I've already met up with her or something, and I'm typing back and forth to them every couple of days, of course I'm going to go and see them at some point. within the year or whatever. This particular case I'm doing here, I missed the last meetup with this girl, and it's been almost 2 years since I've seen this one particular girl here, right? But I'm still following through, and we still talk and this and that. But there are people who will drag these things out forever, especially people that are far away in other countries. You know what I'm saying? And without ever committing to a date, to a ticket, to a trip. And I just think that's really, really, really crazy. You know, I don't believe in this internet digital pen pal shit. You have to finally meet people in person, and you know what I'm saying? It just doesn't work that way. This is how I met my ex-wife in Canada. It's how I met pretty much mostly all, of my girlfriends, this and that, the ones that I haven't met in person or whatever. And the ones that I have met in person, I do continue to still follow up with them, see how they're doing at least once a fucking year. And you can apply this to your family, other friends, not just girls, but I mean, other people that you care about. You do have to link up with them. If you don't see somebody, like if more than a year passes, right, and you haven't met up with somebody, shit changes. You know, people age. People, their health, sometimes it doesn't always improve, like in my case. In other places, sometimes people health deteriorates, you know. Sometimes people aren't able to travel. Sometimes they get injured. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they go through ups and downs of life, marriage, divorce, breakups, being homeless and bouncing back and forth. And, some motherfuckers are on drugs and shit. Some people are, a lot can happen in a year's time. Now imagine 2 years' time or 3 years' time or whatever. It's crazy. I was actually one of those people that I didn't make it to, I didn't go to any of the high school reunions because I didn't really know too many people in high school. I was always like the athlete runner guy on the track team. I knew a few people on there, but for the most part, it's like I was pretty much an unknown entity there. I'm not saying motherfuckers can go surf through the yearbook all they want. The most you'll probably find is a picture of me running, somewhere on a track or hill or something. So, I can't really say the same about high school. Not much the same for college either. It's like I was pretty much busy working for myself. So my friends from that circle, California mostly, are very, very, very sparse and limited or whatever. So my advice to you guys out there, again, getting back to the manual labor thing, you need to work for yourself ultimately at the end of the day, especially if you have friends that are all around the world. Okay. Now, if you grew up in a small town now and all the friends you met are all local people, I would suggest you expand your world, expand your circle. But in that rare case, and you're not interested in meeting anybody else from outside of your fucking city, then I guess you could ignore my advice and go get a local job at the grocery store or some local fucking, doesn't matter anything. Doesn't matter whether it pays good or if it doesn't. The point is, if you're stuck on the treadmill of work, you might find it very difficult to say, all right, I need to take off, 2 or 3 months or 4 months or whatever and go do this. you know, most employers will not have a job waiting for you after it's missing 3 days or whatever. They're not going to give you that much break time. You're just basically a replaceable cog in the machine. So no matter what your job is, you know what I'm saying? Whether you work at motherfucking 7-Eleven or you drive a bus or you're a bitch ass police officer, district attorney or some shit like that, or you have some other job where someone's issuing you a paycheck, you are pretty much chained and enslaved to that particular location so long as you want that employment, okay? If you're a wild motherfucker like me, you just can grab your device and press upload and shoot your shit and sell it and whatever, and you have the freedom of travel. And that's something that I don't want to trade for anything. Okay? I don't want to trade that shit for nothing, yo. It doesn't matter how much a job may pay or what the benefits are and this and that or whatever. If I got to be there around the year round, and I can't leave, it's not, maybe I could do a seasonal job or some shit like that. But to just be on some fucking hamster wheel all fucking year and I can't go where I want to go when I want to go, no thanks. I'll pass on that. I'd be one of those bad friends that Socrates was talking about, my quote or whatever. And by the way, I suggest you guys check up or even Google that old essay, The Abolition of Work by Bob Black. It's basically like some some borderline anarchist shit actually, but it's very, very. It was a very, very moving manifesto. I'd like to say. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people think, "Oh, Shimmy, you're that black Ethiopian radical guy, whatever. What are you doing reading the white man shit, whatever?" I like reading a lot of white people shit, actually. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't want to fess up and admit to this shit, but white people are actually very smart. They have some good works, or at least their intellectual works were preserved. You know, their libraries weren't burnt down too many times, and things of that nature. So, white European history, it basically has been preserved better and more so than other cultures, simply because and a colonizing or conquering culture is going to replace and uproot whatever fucking values in whatever country it is they colonize. You could look at this in fucking anywhere, especially little. It seems to like island countries seem to magnify this, such as Haiti, Dominican Republic, Philippines, pretty much anywhere that Spain sailed their fucking ships to or whatever. It's the influence of Catholicism and Christianity and their whole system and way of life and all that shit is quite apparent. You know what I'm saying? It's look at America. Look at how it used to be so, or still is, so fucking Puritan, like the Pilgrims or whatever, and the present day laws and shit still affect this. You know, versus countries that haven't been colonized have had their histories and whatnot preserved, and their scholars and writings and works and all that shit are still there. So yeah, man, I study some white people shit for those of you that are wondering or whatever, and this is what it is. I like their philosophy on some things. So yeah, man. Just remember, bottom line of this story, so that I'm stopped my rambling. Do your best to work for yourself. Make your own money or become an investor. It doesn't matter. You could be a motherfucker that just trades stocks or something. Yeah, it depends on whatever your level of comfort and whatever your current needs in life are. You know what I'm saying? If you need to drive a brand new 2020 something something car and live in a big fucking house somewhere and have a bunch of status symbols, watches, gold, and purses for your bitch and shit like that to make you feel good, then you might end up depleting all your resources and funds for travel. And if you don't do that, even if you still have money, you are still, almost physically chained to your employer's workplace. You know what I'm saying? Or, hey, how about this? If you work at home and you're one of these motherfucking e-worker, telecommuter type of motherfuckers, and it still requires you to be at your home, well, you're just chained to your home. You're under house arrest or whatever. You still can't leave the country. You still can't do this and that. So until you have something that has ultimate flexibility, you're probably not going to be able to see people, or at least be accessible enough to see people whom you care about throughout your life. You know what I'm saying? So many times, I think a lot of people spend and waste a lot of their time uh, talking about relationships right now. They'll meet a girl, guy will meet a girl, whatever, and it will just seem like they'll click, but the circumstances are awkward. So and so, oh, she's moving to another city, or I'm going through this right now, when this and that and this and that and whatever. Me, on the other hand, I've always got the response that I'm here in town for right now. I can come back and see you in a couple months. I can see you this same time next year. We can take it from there. And most of my relationships have a tendency to pick up where they left off at, right? Because I do follow through and see people. But the unfortunate thing in life is that most people don't have this luxury, even though the world is much smaller than what it used to be. Like I say, you could travel to pretty much any destination on this country round trip for less than $1,000. This is pretty much inclusive of everything, even Africa, where I'm going soon. So it's like, there's not much. I mean, most people can get a job, even a minimum wage job, in a first or second world or even third world country, and save up $1,000. Might take you a couple months, might even take you a year in some cases, but it's very doable. I meet people from very, very poor countries that are still traveling to a lot of the places that I go to. People from Malaysia, Indonesia, fucking Philippines. They get around. they find a way to get around. Air travel is not as expensive as it once was a long time ago, thanks to Google Flights and some other things like that. But really, it boils down to people having well, for one, the will and desire to go and see people they care about, and pretty much the funds. As people get older in age, it has to do with like health and this and that. And, I'm saying, oh, my aching back, my bones, I can't travel. I get to hear all these gripes and moans from people and stuff like that. But, I do make it a point to fucking move around and see a motherfucker, you know? I don't want to be one of these people that has regrets. I don't have any regrets, actually. I'm one of those guys that I will fly in family and friends or whatever to come and see me if I can't see them. I've always done this, you know what I'm saying? At least once or a couple times a year. You know what I'm saying? If I'm ever in a situation where I can't go and see people, I will send for them to come and see me. But usually I prefer to go see them. But you know what I'm saying? It's that flexibility is nice and it feels good to me. That's what I want to spend my time doing while I'm here on this planet. It's seeing and spending time and sharing experiences with the people that I care about the most. And that's what I really want to do. Most people probably want the same shit, but they're not able to do this, because of the situation they're in. But that situation can be easily changed. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's always a way, but eventually you're going to have to hop off the work treadmill. Eventually, or you're not going to be able to cultivate, lasting friendships and relationships. It's very sad that a lot of times, fuck, some people die on the job. It's crazy. But I mean, just imagine now the situation. I always say to people, always listen to my shows. I could get hit by a bus while I'm running tomorrow and shit like that. But I mean, just imagine these people. Imagine there's girls from your, fucking from you've known for 10, 20, 30 years or something like that. And imagine if you never ever see them again. What if the last time you seen them, and this is the case for a lot of people, that's why they say long, tearful goodbyes. What if this was like the very last time you probably see them in your lifetime? I don't really have too many bad, like, movie, like train station movie kind of things like this going on. I very rarely have, I see this at the airports all the time. Their people they're hugging and kissing like someone motherfucker's going to war and he's never coming back. And I guess that's why, because they know they're never coming back. Whenever I say my farewells to a girl, hug and kiss and all that shit, it's not a very lengthy or long goodbye, because I tell them, like, no, I'll be back. Specifically, I'll be back in 6, 7, 8 months, something like that. All right, set your clock to it. They know that I come back. You know what I'm saying? My family knows that I come back. My friends know that I come back. So there's never this big, huge emotional thing. I don't get like overly emotional at funerals and shit like that, unless something's totally fucking tragic and unexpected. But it's like, yeah, I just believe that human life and the life experience and sharing with people you care about is very, very important to me. It's really hard to even put a dollar amount on these things, you know what I'm saying? Because your time, your youth is worth something. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to go and okay, say I'm 40 years old now. Imagine when I'm 60 years old, 20 years down the road from now, or fucking 80, 40 years from now, or whatever. What's really going to make a difference is the people in my life. Well, obviously the comfort level I'm at too, but it's like the people in my life that I've stuck with and likewise have stuck with me. That's really all you got at the end, man. It's okay to be alone. It's okay to be a loner and this and that and the other, as I am most of the time too. But I'm a loner with a lot of friends, a lot of friends scattered every fucking where. So I find this to be a whole fuck of a lot more enriching than having a bunch of fake ass friends and fake frenemies and fake bitches and fake people in my life. You might have to sift through the fucking globe to put your team together, but it's well worth it to do it this way than to just settle for whatever, whatever. If you got some shitty friends, fuck it. You can get some better ones, trust me. You can get better ones that respect your time, your purpose, your energy, whatever, and you just vibe with better. You know, you're not stuck with the same circle of motherfuckers, you know. Juvenile, the rapper, his old song Ha, H-A, if you play it back and maybe run it through Rap Genius or one of those lyric sites, it'll say, you come up with them niggas, huh? You stuck with them niggas, huh? In the first chorus of his song, you know what I'm saying? So that's how a lot of people think, you know, you're not stuck with the niggas you come up with, unless you want to be that way. Okay, some people are stuck in the mud, they not going nowhere, they're happy down there, and they might want to, you know, keep you down there with them, basically. If anybody has a problem with you hopping around and going to see other people whom you care about, then that tells you this person might be a problem in your life. You know what I'm saying? If they want to clip your wings and not see you go anywhere and expand in this and that. I'm telling you, it's better to have people in your life that, for one, that understand you, two, that respect you, and three, that basically reciprocate. You know what I'm saying? There, and there's many cases where just local motherfuckers treat you like shit. You know, and probably because you're local. Probably because you're from the same town as them or same family as them or you look like them or whatever. You know, I like going to places where don't nobody ever look like me, which really isn't that hard. You're black Ethiopian, but I mean, you know, where vastly nobody looks like me at all or even speaks the same language or, you know, way different heights, builds, and everything. I like being in places like this, you know. This is fun to me. But yeah, bottom line of my story, you know, the abolition of work or whatever. Work for yourself so that you can see people who you care about and make time for people that you care about. So that you have time for your friends, time for your family, time for yourself, above all, to do what the fuck you want to do. But girls, especially around the world, you know, they know me as just that guy that, you know, that guy, that weird fucking nerdy black guy or whatever, that weird foreigner that always just ends up coming back place to place to place, year to year to year. You know, it's like when you globetrot, it's like you're living multiple lives in multiple countries, whereas you have a linear, you know, single kind of life when you just stay in one country, basically. It's like basically, literally, it's like hopping on a plane and starting over or being another character or playing a new level of a video game every time I come to another country, basically. So that's all I got to say. I hope you guys have a good night. Thank you for listening to my brain dump. This is called The Shimmy Show. If you like what I got to say, give me a like, subscribe if you're new, all that good shit. And more good shows will keep coming. If you have any comments, hit them up below. I try my best to reply to pretty much everybody, you know, most of the time. You know, I got time to do shit or whatever. So I'm one of those motherfuckers that I am reachable. You know what I'm saying? If you've gone through the trouble of finding this channel, for one, most people find this channel by, you know, Googling or researching my works, books, adult videos, or, you know, some other project, or they stalk me or some other crazy shit. If you've gone through the lengths to find this channel that I don't even promote at all, okay, chances are I will reach out and hit you back or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because this is really just like my behind the scenes, whatever, my project for fun. I do have other websites and projects and shit that are commercial that I make money with and whatever. But most people who find this channel, since I'm not promoting it in any way at all, you know, it's some roundabout way of motherfuckers that want to dig up info on me. Or they're just curious, basically. Or they like what I gotta say, or maybe they saw a movie, or they saw a video, or they saw an interview, and they're like, "Oh, it's that dude. Okay, let me see what he's talking about." So that's me. That's what the Shimmy Show is about. You can hit me up, and if you got something to talk about, you know, fuck it. We can rap a little bit when I have time. You know, I often get layovers in airports and shit like that. I'm currently not like charging for my time or whatever, but that doesn't mean I could be your therapist and all that other crazy shit. But if it gets to that level, I might have to. But I mean, you know, I pretty much reach out. I'm a reachable motherfucker. So if you haven't reached out to me yet, you know, do so below, comment section, and get me back. If you got any ideas for a show, anything you want to know, etc., let me know. I hope this has been helpful. This is hashtag The Shimmy Show. I'm Shimmy. I approve this message, and I'm signing out here from Holland. Peace out. Peace and hair grease.